All right, so don't look now. Don't look now, because we're actually doing some work. Like, we're actually working together, Elijah. Don't look now, or you're gonna actually see that we're doing work together. We're already working together. This is just an amazing opportunity to have you in my day. So right now, what I'd like to ask you is a little bit more on the one domain. When we did my values map, you had talked to us about the one domain and the importance of research in terms of organizations not remaining stagnant and being able to look off and see what else is going on, and it contributes to innovation and etc. So I'm going to take some notes. I hope everybody else has got a pen and page ready to roll, or your note-taking devices. And I'll just hand it over to you, and I'm looking forward to what you have to say to enlighten us.
Good thing there's no pressure. Okay, one domain. Well, one thing, I want to bring something up. A second here. Can you see that? No?
It's not on shared screen, no.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. There you go. So you can see that?
Correct.
Okay. So this is the big missing hidden background structure behind the inflow matrix. So this is the time translator. And so the synergy map, the flow map, and all the other maps all fit on this time structure. And you can see it goes from purple to blue to aquamarine to green to yellow to pink to orange to red to sort of indigo. And each one of those circles is a different time cycle. So to look at the one, to look at research, it's assigned the time cycle of a lifetime. So research is looking long term. Research is looking multiple generations. Research is constantly going on our entire life. Everything we are doing, in a sense, is research if we really look at, you know, how we learn and why we're learning. And so it also is on the outermost ring, and it also has the signs of the zodiac on the outside. So it's the outside time construct where the planetary cycles are what are the primary reference point for us to figure out time. And so
it's the signs of the zodiac, and it's the outside time structure, it's the outside time construct for what?
For us, right? It's like
for what's going on. The cycles of what's going on.
Yes, for the cycles. So I mean, there's four sort of main words in the inflow. I mean, there's a lot of sort of different main words, but cycles, events, actions, and conversations. And so the outer two time cycles are your cycles.
Again.
You have
slower.
Cycles, events, actions, and conversations.
And those are the four main.
Those are like the words that we all use to sort of organize everything that's happening, right? It's you can basically look at all of timing through cycles interacting with one another.
Time.
Say that again?
Is it the way that we organize time?
Yes.
Four main words we use to organize time.
Yes, as the body organizes in space, the mind organizes in time. am I looking for?
So I'll just, as you're doing that, I'll just repeat again for everybody. So you can watch this multiple times, but what Elijah's just said there is that the one domain has the word research in it. And in terms of the background model, the time translator is sort of the hidden background model for the inflow matrix and everything that you've been shown up until now. And you're discovering something hidden. And that may happen as time goes on for all of you. You'll get exposed to another map. You might get exposed to something that helped to create that particular map that you've seen before. So in the one domain, when we're dealing with research and the time translator, the outermost ring is, you'll see the zodiac symbols. And that's basically, you know, a year, but it's a lifetime. So the one has to do with all time and unification of that. But it's still about the cycles and events and actions and conversation, because that's how the mind is organizing the time. So, or organizing information. So I'll just hand that back to you, Elijah.
Do you see
there?
Well, just the rest of the pattern, like if you look at the blue is yearly, and that refers to infrastructure and resources. So for your resources, you're looking over your whole year for what you need and what's in place in your budget, which is very different from looking at your job, which is the next ring, which is looking at the lunar cycle. So when you're looking at your particular job or the jobs of the organization, they're organized in 13, 28-day lunar cycles, but the resources are looked at through a year cycle, and then the research is looked over a lifetime cycle. So part of the inflow matrix is different organizational functions have a different primary cycle. That is how they organize time. And this is one of the big differences or discoveries, let's say, within the inflow matrix of having multiple time cycles refer to multiple functions for either yourself or for an organization. And so then you go into the
Which is why it's really important to understand this, because when you're in an organization and you're working together, so you may have had a synergy map already done, and you may be working as a team, you may be looking at communication, but you also need to understand that as the different domains have their focus in your organization, each of those numbers vibrate differently, and they each have a different time, a way to organize time in a different time cycle. So who's ever sitting at the one in the organization is going to be looking at things in terms of a life cycle, and the person sitting at the two domain is going to be looking at things in a 1 year cycle. So if you're doing the human resources department, you're going to be looking at it in a 28-day cycle. And then if you're actually, doing the scheduling, which is the 4 domain, let me guess, they're going to be looking at a 24-hour cycle.
Exactly. And so those, the midpoint, the yellow circle, is a bit of it doesn't quite follow the pattern, but it is the midpoint. It's the seasonal cycle. So on the outside of the season are the day, lunar, year, and lifetime. And then on the inner is the very quick cycles. At relationship, it's by the hour. And so we're constantly moving between people. We're constantly spending time in different relationships. And so it's on an hour by hour basis. And then we get to the path, and then it's minute to minute. It's like things are changing as you go along. We're not quite in the present moment, which is at 8, but it's minute to minute. So this is the direct connection. This is services. This is connection to the customer. So if you're in a mom and pop coffee shop, they walk in, they order a coffee, they sit down, they spend 15 minutes, and they leave. in every business, the customer is doing something which is tracking time, and they are going down some sort of path, whether a mental path or a physical path. And so that path exists within the relationship. So if I'm talking to a potential customer, that relationship, then we go down a path together. And that path are the conversational paths. The path are we derive meaning by the flow of information within these conversation types. And so just because we have a tool now to start to talk about this stuff, we're bringing, let's say, an instructional conversation online here. Changes the nature of the ballgame, because this takes time. It takes time to fully understand what does it mean to have a mental operating system, and what does it mean to have multiple conceptual maps all connecting together that you can design your own value system within and identify all your goals, and then all of a sudden the universe brings it to you. It's not just map it out like a business plan and go, okay, now we got to go do it. The big thing is the mind creates. So the clearer you get on what's going on in your mind, and if you're matching, let's say, a higher frequency of model, or you're matching a greater alignment with the truth of reality. There's a lot of human activity systems that are so man-made and they're so out of tune that they're creating these horrendous results. So we're looking to get in tune and vibrating to higher frequencies of thought.
Elijah, if I might interject to just highlight a point here.
Of course.
I think that it's valuable to understand something from the student perspective, and we can bring it to light right now, that Elijah didn't create these out of his own mind and put them there like so many other models are. This was designed by watching the natural flow of life, by studying our forefathers who've done other, who've thought holistically and system and used systems thinking and so on and so forth. And what Elijah's done brilliantly, might I add, is taken all of that and studied life and put all of these facts, all of this information together and mapped it out so that we can understand its relativity to each other, and then have a common reference system to communicate to one another with. And so when we're talking about this, it's important to just acknowledge that these are structures and things that are already happening. You're not using these maps to, sort of create a reality, but becoming conscious of them allows you to become a conscious co-creator of your reality.
Exactly. It's like there's universal models which truly do apply to us all. And when you start to use them and put them together and then program them, you're telling the mind finally what to do. All your life it's been programmed by somebody else in some way. So these higher aspects of mind in every spiritual tradition are telling us, if you utilize humility, if you utilize compassion, if you utilize gratitude, your whole life will change. But they have to realize the value of it. And so what about you, Miss Lori Ann? You've been playing with this for a long time. What have you learned through your experience in helping people go through sort of value system transformations? Because it isn't just the map. There's a lot more that comes with it. What are some of the deeper lessons you've learned?
The first one is to be humble. I've learned my own humility and my place in and amongst the universe and what I'm called to do, which is another thing that it's brought awareness that's brought to me, is that just there's a place for me and a role for me, and so coming to understand that was a very personal journey, and that was an enormous realization. and then working with other people in terms of their value system. At the start, it was much like working with my own, just to make sure that I wasn't dreaming that this was all happening the way that it was. I needed to just confirm it. So the first few values wheels that I'd done, and first few members and people that came in as I was designing and doing my own art and my own research and development, started to just confirm the importance of having a model to bring your conscious awareness into the moment, and have some way to communicate your values to other people. And then the transformations that happen in people is like, there's no description that I can really give that paints the picture of transformation. The word transformation is in and of itself what happens. But being a witness to that, Elijah, is it's just such an honor. Like, it's always such an honor. And I've learned to come from a place of deeper understanding. And I, as an individual, I just lost judgment. Yeah, and I have higher faith in our ability to create, and the way that we can create with a conscious value system in terms of the speed that we actually can send clear communication to the universe and then receive the gift back. It's astounding. So in that way, I'm just filled with gratitude and joy. My everyday personal life, as well as my family, people around me, have benefited from this. And I know that as students come on, that's happening and trickling into their lives as well. And so this is although when we're recording this, is sort of at the beginning of the time where we decided to come together and bring this out. It has already gone out there, and it's just been a blessing in my eyes for everybody who has come to understand it. And there hasn't been somebody yet that's crossed my path that has come to discover the system or the tools within it and say, oh yeah, I'm not interested. So it's pretty exciting. Sorry about that. That's pretty exciting.
Wait a second. Are you saying everyone you come across in Saskatchewan are interested in the tools?
There hasn't been anybody that's come across my path that I've been talking to about this, either as a client or just someone who knows me, who isn't interested and excited about it. Yes.
Okay.
But the students are ready. It takes a while to get everybody there and get them ready, right? And it took us, in all honesty, for everybody that's watching this, it took us a long time, and it's been a journey to be here to be able to record this for you. And I know that Elijah and I are going to look back on these videos, and it's going to just seem so far ago and so long ago that we actually did this, but yet we're going to also simultaneously remember the time when in 1999 up to 2003 we were saying, oh, can you imagine we actually can have like an online TV show and, you know, have people come together and talk about this and share these tools. So technology needed to catch up to what we wanted. We weren't even able to do our website in the way that we wanted because it's conceptual 3D design, you know. Yeah. So there's just so much. There's a quote on my board. I don't know if anybody can see that back there, but it says, patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order than one has in mind. You know, so we may, doesn't matter who we are, especially in business, we have an idea that we want things to go a certain way, or we want, we see a vision and we want it to come about that way. And there's something else that's happening. And as long as we're listening to our internal guidance, we eventually get there. But when we're working with a conscious value system, and we also within that inflow matrix system can see how the energy flows and the information flows and our life flows from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. There's such a level of stress that is no longer present in your life. And it's not just me who will say that. You can talk to my number one client, Lori Renton of LR Future, and she will tell you the same thing. You have a better and a healthier life without those stresses. And if you understood that you have the power to do that just simply by relaxing and letting your mind have a mechanism that it puts itself onto, then you will be able to touch a deeper part within you that is full of soul and full of faith and absolutely just relaxed about what is coming about.
Could I ask you a question? Do you
Yeah,
have
these long answers when you do.
Do you have relaxation at services?
Yes, I do. I think I do. Customer service.
I just heard the perfect explanation or download or remedy for everyone out there, right? Regarding stress and relaxation, and you know, what do you want in your life? And this is how it works, right? It's like it might be a sentence or a paragraph or a thought or an idea, but it's like we start broadcasting this value.
Well, as soon as that value touches the map and you look at it, it's integrated within you. And that's what I'm trying to bring to light. Like, our mind is occupied when it has this model, and that's what it needs. If it's not, it's running around in a million different directions in conversations, and people learn that in the ROVA, right? What is their internal dialogue? And as we become the observer of our own thoughts, and we're increasing our awareness, but our consciousness. So that's the relationship map. As we're increasing our level of observation in ourselves, we're also increasing the level of conscious awareness, and we're able to sort of open up to that place where we're receiving things. And so when we have this model, and ta-da, we have a card on top of it, and our brain integrates it. Not our brain, actually, our mind integrates it, and it's projecting that and communicating that with the universe, and all energies flowing back and forth with that. We can be present here and not have to be in our minds and worried or trying to create something or send any affirmation. Our minds already do that. They do that. We need, when we step out of the way, it all is done, and we already know that. But this is the direct application of taking a card that's a circle that says green value on it, plunking it onto some word. Your brain takes it, bam, it's done. It's instantaneous. It is. And then it just manifests faster, easier, without you in the way. There's a testimony for you.